Hi, and welcome to Vibin with, brought to you by Puzzle of Color. Today, we are vibing with Craig Carter, aka Craig C. the Artist, who created Black Plum. Craig is an artist from Houston, Texas, who works in a variety of mediums. He uses bold line work and vibrant colors to show different emotions and expressions. His work has been shown nationally and internationally, including the Houston Museum of African American Culture and various galleries.
Welcome to Vibin with. Today we're meeting with our good friend and artist out of Houston, Craig Carter.
Craig Carter, yeah, Craig Carter, Craig C. the Artist.
Craig C. the Artist, yes sir.
Yeah.
Good to see you, son. Oh, so how have you been? What have you been up to?
Oh man, been blessed, man. I can't complain. Just steady creating. That's it.
What's up?
Working on pieces, different commission pieces, personal projects, stuff like that.
Can you? I know we've talked a little bit, so can you give us a little backstory about you, how you got to the art?
Man. Okay. Hope you got enough time. Let me see. Well, actually, I started probably like high school, I would say. Like high school, I got into like just sketching here and there. Like a lot of my friends, well, I could just say my upbringing wasn't around artists. So I grew up in the hood, just like probably a lot of black teenagers. Art wasn't the big thing, I guess I would say. So it was just something that passed time. But I would say like once I got into college, that's when I knew I had something that was meant for me to do. Like a lot of my dorm mates were like, man, you should do, tattoos and draw, different stuff for different people. So I just started getting off to that. Started doing like tattoo drawing, not the actual tattoo, just the tattoo drawings. And drawing like just random stuff, logos and stuff for like dorm mates. And then another dorm mate of mine was like, nah, bro, you should take this real serious, try to get into like galleries. I'm like, man, me galleries? I'm like, yeah, right. So it was a show that was in Atlanta. And a guy by the name of Dan the Man was hosting these shows called Mano a Manos. So I was like, that was like way back in MySpace days. So that let you know how far it was.
Yeah.
So that was like 2009, 8, somewhere around there. So I just submitted my artwork, and sure enough, that was one of my first big shows. I would say, that was in Atlanta. And ever since then, it was just shows after shows. And people were like, man, I see your work in Atlanta. Are you from Atlanta? I'm like, nah, man, I'm from Houston. They were like, you from Houston? I'm like, how you getting a lot of these shows in Atlanta? I'm like, I'm just submitting, bro. So after that, it just started different shows in different states. Slowly but surely, that's when I started getting into like a lot of Houston shows. I didn't start getting into like a lot of Houston shows until like later on. The one show I ended up getting into was the Bombay Sapphire show at the HMAC, the Houston Museum for African American Culture.
Yeah.
And that right there just turned it up. One of the pieces that I submitted ended up being a billboard.
Wow.
And it became a billboard for Indio Beer Company.
Okay.
They're out of LA, out of California. And that billboard, man, that boy went everywhere. It was in, of course it was in Houston, but it was in LA, New York, Mexico, all over pretty much. So that's how I pretty much got started.
Cool. So you said you've just been drawing since high school. Like what kind of inspired you to even pick up the pen and get going?
I would say hip hop actually, like the movie Beat Street. Like being a kid, I don't know exactly what got me into that, but it was just seeing those colors that the character Ramo on Beat Street, how he did his graffiti, and I'm like, man, I don't know what that is, but I want to do something like that as a kid. Wow. So that just drove me to it, like for us wanting to do something creative. I think I've always been creative, like for us coloring and drawing and making my own comic books and whatnot, just to pass time. But definitely I would say Beat Street, the movie Beat Street definitely got me into doing just art.
I think that's definitely influenced a lot of people, especially like with like I said, the graffiti hip hop scene influenced a lot. Right. You got to get into that style. It's super like, and it's kind of got to a point where it's also mainstream as well to some extent. And people are like really trying to put, like you said, the billboards works great for like graffiti art for basically right. Very popular graffiti artist himself. So it's cool. Definitely.
After that, I just looking into street art and stuff like that to get like motivation.
Yeah. And have you done it? Did you do any graffiti tagging of walls or anything like that?
A little bit, but not like enough to say I'm a graffiti writer.
Right. Yeah.
I'm no, yeah. I ain't gonna lie and say no. I was out there just bombing and all that. No, I wasn't doing that. No, it was more so just inspired by it.
Yeah.
Just by the use of the can and the lines.
Yeah.
Like, man, see, like how I create is through music.
Yeah.
So if I'm listening to like how people ask me like all the time, like, how do you come up with those colors? And I'm like, music, really? Yeah, like if I'm listening to like a mixtape of like various styles of music. So it could be like neo soul or like hip hop upbeat. So I'm hearing like upbeat up tempos. I'm seeing like yellows, oranges, reds, stuff like that. But if I'm listening to something like more jazzy or blues or like kind of like melancholy, like kind of, I'm seeing like deep purples, dark blues, teals. So I just go off of that. I just go off the vibe of the music.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Unless I have like a concept of what I'm going to do, then I'll do it. For the most part, I'm just going off top of the head and listen to the music.
Right. Yeah. I even see like the graffiti kind of like even in
like that. Yeah, the piece right there.
Yeah. I was gonna say the piece behind you. I can definitely see like the inspiration.
Oh yeah, like the pieces right here. Yeah. These are from my Young King series, and what I do is I just pick a random black man from the area, and it could be anywhere from the hood. If I just see him walking up and down the street, and he has a face that I want to use, I was like, man, can I use you as a reference? And some people they taken by it. They tell me taken back by it because they were like, "You were using me as a what?" I'm like, as a reference. And I'll show them my artwork, and they go, "Oh man, you want to put me in a painting?" I was like, "Yeah." So they were like, "Yeah." So they'll take a picture. They'll stand still. I'll take a picture of them and use them, And basically this.
Cool.
Yeah, so it could be the random cat that's standing on the block, or somebody that's walking down the street and I see him. I'm like, hey man, can I use that as a reference? I do the same for females too. And that's how I come up with the Young King series. Basically just showing black men that we can come from all walks of life, but we're all black kings in general,
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like growing up in Houston, how was that? Did it affect your art style or has that influenced you at all?
Man, growing up on the side of Houston that I'm from, which is called the SWAT. I don't know if I'm quite familiar that you heard about Toby.
Yeah, is that
me and Toby? Yeah. Me and Toby. My little brother went to school with Toby. He went to Elsick.
Oh, cool.
I went to Hastings. We all out of the SWAT, A-Leaf.
Yeah.
That's the southwest side of Houston, but we call it the SWAT. So,
your family in Houston, so we're
both city.
Yeah. I'm familiar with Missouri City. The area I stayed in was like Spice Lane, Club Creek, all those. Somebody that's from Houston, they'll tell you, "Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about." Yeah, those areas. Pretty much that's the hood. That's one of the hoods. That's like your third wards, South Park, stuff like that. That's all like pretty much the hood. But growing up as a youth from that area, man, is it taught me a lot to basically keep my guard up. Basically, just really just showed me how to grow up fast, man. I really like to say, as far as the art side of it, it really didn't play a big part of art. I got off into like other stuff that I wasn't proud of, but I think art definitely saved me. I could say that. Yeah, it saved me from the street life. And basically like a lot of my homeboys that I grew up with, a lot of those are like long gone in jail. So I think, like I said, I definitely say art definitely saved me for real.
Yeah, it made me think. Well, I'm thinking about like you talk about music inspiring your art a little bit. I'm like, you into chopped and screwed type of music?
Oh yeah. I used to listen to DJ Screw all the time. I still am. Yeah. DJ Screw definitely was a big influence in my far as drawing, for motivation.
Yeah,
definitely DJ Screw. Yeah.
And Beyonce. Huh?
Oh yeah, and Beyonce. Yeah. I mean, I really didn't listen to Beyonce like that, but yeah. Beyonce.
Well, plus she's a little bit newer, I guess, in the grand scheme of music in Houston.
Right. But yeah, definitely DJ Screw played a big influence just in Houston and long.
I was actually, when I lived there, I went to University of Houston for college. So
okay.
I lived there. I went to see Obama speak when he was first campaigning, and I was behind Bun B. I'm like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, like definitely like people from Houston, like down there, like you can see, like,
we real cool, we real laid back. That's one thing I always get that from other people from other cities. They when they come and talk to me, or I meet somebody from somewhere else, they be like, man, when I heard Houston, I always thought y'all was like rough and not easy to talk to. I'm like, nah, we cool, man. You cool with us, we cool with y'all. So,
Right.
That's how I'm always like that, down there, humble.
So how was it when you actually saw your puzzle for the first time, or you got your puzzle? How did
it's amazing, bro. It's an amazing feeling, man. Just to see it in that format. The actual painting itself is like 38 by 46. I know it's pretty big. And just to see it like this size, like, man, that's amazing, bro. Just to see like little kids and families getting a chance to play with it and put it together. Yeah, that's dope, man.
Are the people in the piece, are they like something you saw or visualized or something you referenced?
Oh no, that right there just came off the top of my head too. Actually, it was for an event or an exhibition in South Africa, in Cape Town. Yeah, the painting is based on a poem, a South African poem about Black love, basically. And it was my interpretation of what I think Black love is. And the actual poem is called Black Plum too, I think.
Yeah.
So I just used the title from the poem and used it for my piece. But yeah, that's my interpretation of Black love and unity and stuff like that. Yeah,
definitely shows that. I love that piece. It's very, like I said, I love the vibrancy.
I would have took out the actual painting, but it's still packaged up. It's still in the box.
I understand. That's a huge piece. So I understand it'd be a little thing to be happy to move around.
Well, I noticed like in Black Plum and in the art in general, you have like a lot of kind of like tribal references. Like where do you get that inspiration from? Yeah.
I don't know. I just recently, probably like a couple of years, probably like a little more, probably like 5, 6 years ago, I would say, I started getting more into the actual cultural side of it. And that was just off of whim. That wasn't me like researching or something like that. It was more so of just me trying it. And I ran into a gentleman, I think he was Nigerian. I was just out and about, and the guy saw me sketching. He was like, hey man, can I look at your sketchbook? I noticed that you're doodling. Can I see it? I was like, yeah. So he noticed it, the African influence. He's like, hey bro, are you doing these from like a memory? Or are you looking at like African mask? I'm like, nah, I'm just looking at something. Like, I'm just doing it off the top of my head. He was like, nah, bro, that's coming from your inside, from your DNA. I'm like, word. I'm like, I never looked at it like that, because I'm just listening to music and I'm letting my hands do the talking pretty much. I'm not really like looking at an actual figure or mask to just get the idea from. He was like, no. He said, hey, do you mind if I put you on FaceTime with a cousin of mine that's in Africa? I was like, word.
Wow.
So yeah, he put me on FaceTime with the cousin in Africa. And he was like, hey, you guys should see this man's work. So he showed the guy my work. He was like, hey, you're not from, do you know where you from? I was like, I'm from Houston. He was like, no. Do you know what, have you checked your lineage as far as your DNA? And I had just recently did the DNA test. And I was telling him different parts that I was from, like my people are from, like Cameroon, some parts of Ghana, and some parts of Nigeria. And he was like, hey, yeah, these look like masks that's in my village, bro. He said, that's crazy that you've never been to. He said, have you ever been to Africa? I was like, not yet. I said, my artwork has been though. He was like, no, that's crazy that you can draw that from just on top of your head and never been to Africa ever.
Yeah.
He was, that's that. He said, that's something deep within you that's coming out through your art. So I took it like, man, he got him talking. You know what he's talking about, I'm guessing. So that's amazing though.
Yeah,
that is super cool.
Well, you'll definitely have to like go to Africa and actually see.
Yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. Just to see it.
Yeah.
I'm always getting that question like, hey man, what part of Africa are you from? Are you looking at something that's African based? I'm like, nah, man, I'm listening to music and I'm letting my hands speak.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. We have a cousin that actually went to Ghana for like, I want to say study abroad, but it was, I think it was just like a immersion type of program or something. And
wow,
he talks about it all the time. And he wanted to actually go last year and like have the whole family go with him. It's like a birthday trip, but COVID. So one day, hopefully, we'll be able to like.
One day, same here. Yeah, like I said, my artwork been shit all over Africa. But I haven't been yet. I definitely want to touch down to the motherland and touch the soil and just get to know the people, just to know my lineage, my side, you know, like as far as, you know, where I'm from. I definitely want to do that just to see if that would enhance my art style or, you know, add something to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do they see this? Like, I would want to know, do they see themselves in my artwork?
Right. That's pretty cool. That's a whole other, like I said, that's a whole other spiritual awakening or
right.
Tap it into right there. It's kind of like we talked to our other artists who did visited. Can you talk similar about like the ancestors and more about like the ancestors here in America? But yeah, it's pretty cool just how it all like spiritually connects and stuff like that. It shows work like that. That's pretty dope.
But even the billboard that I did, it was more like an African based like style. And the guy in where was he from? I know he was in Mexico, but I forgot exactly what city. And he hit me up on Facebook and he was like, "Hey man," he said, "I seen your billboard like right down the street from my house." He was like, "Bro, your colors that you use are the same colors that's on the buildings in the village." I was like, "Word?" He was like, he showed me the picture of it and showed my artwork. He showed the billboard. I'm like, "Bro," he said, "That's crazy." He said, he said, "I don't mean to offend you." He said, "Are you African?" He said, "Are you Mexican?" I was like, "Nah, man. Well, you know, African American." He was like, "No, that's crazy that your colors can transcend like through Mexico, like that Mexican culture."
Yeah.
Like, he said, "Yeah." He said, I would have thought that you was Mexican." I was like, "Nah, bro."
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy too. Just that.
Yeah. Do you have like any work in any other places around the world?
Oh man, it's been all over, bro. I know it's been in Australia a couple times. London. Actually, London was my first international press that I ended up doing. I ended up going to London in 2010, and a guy that owned the pub saw me sketching. Like I'm always out and about sketching around the city wherever I'm at. And the guy, he was like, "Man, I love your artwork. I would love to have your artwork on my as a mural at my pub." I'm like, "Word?" He was like, "Yeah." So he came down to a number. We agreed on it. I did the mural, and like I would say, like that next week, he told me that the editor wanted to meet me for the local paper.
Wow.
So yeah, so they ended up coming. They did an interview with me, and sure enough, I would say probably like that next week, I was heading back to America. It was coming out the paper.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so that was like one of my first international like piece of press for art. That will make me really take it, you know, serious. Like, I was like, man, yeah, I was given this gift for some kind of reason, so I just got to use it.
That's one thing that I think is like just so beautiful about art, like that it can take you around the world, like, and it can touch people, you know, from all different walks, like no matter what your style is, like there's always something to identify and really like connect with that. Like that's so cool. Like that's not something that every career has that ability. So like art is just something, you know, and there are different forms of art, but you know,
exactly.
something that like everybody can connect to in different ways.
Right. Yeah, like I had a gentleman at one of my exhibitions. He told me that one of my paintings, I think it was one of the King's pieces, that he told me that it reminded him of his youth when he was in school, like in the 60s. He said because of the Black power and the empowerment of Black people that I have in my pieces. He was like, yeah, that definitely reminded me like when I was in school, like all the Black Panther posters and stuff. I'm like, man, word? I'm like, okay, that's cool, man. Like I just never thought that my artwork would make people feel that way.
Yeah. So do you actually study like other artists at all? Like, I mean, like, or do you network with other artists? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I network with like a lot of, I network and collaborate with like a lot of artists now. But far as coming up, like the only artist that I did know of is like Picasso and like Dali and stuff like that. But I never like took time to study their artwork and try to use it, you know, as mine or add their style to mine. Like, not really. Like I later on down the line, I learned about Basquiat and stuff like that.
It's always interesting to hear like the difference was like somebody who's like just naturally inclined versus like somebody who like really studied and like just the different methods that people have to get where they are. So
yeah.
My go-to line is I never went to art school. Yeah, I tell people all the time when they ask me, like, you went to art school? Like, no, never went to no art school. Well, like later on, I went to like art school for animation before as art school to teach me like how my craft and stuff. Like, nah, that's all me. I just trial and error and practice.
Yeah, I love art. There's no real set way to do it, to be good at it,
Exactly.
do this way. There's no one route for anybody. It's like, you might find your way a different whole other way. It might take a lot of trials, tribulations. It might just be like something like you said, you're naturally gifted at. It could be anything really. It could just spark you or to become who you are as an artist. So it's pretty cool.
So like what, I know you talked about like music being the inspiration. This show is called Vibin with. So like what is like the music maybe that you were listening to at the time when you put that together?
The time I was creating the piece, it had to be, I know definitely was like some neo soul, definitely.
Yeah.
So probably what I can do, I can send you a playlist of what I was listening to, and that would give you a good vibe of what I was jamming. Because I was listening to all kind of stuff, so it'd be like neo soul, and it'll go from neo soul to like daggone Wu-Tang Clan, something like that.
Who's your favorite neo soul artist?
I definitely love Floetry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Floetry. Like I jam like a lot of Music Soul Child.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to all kind of stuff. Like I said, it just like I said, I have to send you like a playlist, and you're like, oh, I see what he was vibing to. Okay, how he was coming up with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open to any kind of music, really.
Yeah, because I'm just like I'm thinking about like how you're talking about like the colors are and the inspiration. I'm like a lot of blue, and then also that bright red border. So it's like
I probably would listen to like Afro beats or something.
Yeah.
Knowing me, I'm like, I probably jam it to something like that when I was creating the piece, because I know I probably was trying to get in the zone of like Africa, like just go and have my piece in Africa. So I'm like, I'll probably listen to something like that too.
Yeah.
But I'm open to all kind of music, man. Yeah, so I jam the Fela. Man, what do I listen to? Everything. It's hard to pinpoint something off the top of my head. But yeah, like old school music, hip hop. I'm a big old school head, so I love like Rakim, what's that, EPMD, all that type of stuff. Even some old school soul. I listen to stuff like that.
I forgot you're getting more to digital art too. Is that what you are working like on an iPad, things of that nature?
Yeah, man, I love it, bro. Like I can show you right now. Like this is the most recent piece I just did today.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah,
I like that.
But
yeah, and I know you do art every single day, right?
Yeah, I'm loving it, man. To me, it's better than doing traditional because I don't have to worry about like the supplies or the use of going to get another canvas. Like the canvas is right here.
Yeah.
And if I want to make it into an actual canvas, I just have to get it printed. But for the most part, like creating, that's like right here at my fingertip. I'm like, yeah. I should have been jumped on. Somebody told me about it. Like, bro, your work would be crazy if you did like digital art. And I think it was more so the use of. I probably was just like nervous.
Right.
I didn't know exactly like what to do with it because I dibbled and dabbled with Photoshop a little bit, but like to actually like do this type of I'm like, man, I should have been there.
Yeah.
Now I definitely want to get off into the what's that NFT stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other world. Yeah. I just watched a video yesterday about like artists and NFTs and put it on the open sea or whatever. I put it on the website or whatever. Yeah, man. It's cool. It's gonna be interesting to see how times change.
But for the most part, I'm always creating, so I'm always doing either a commission or a personal piece or something like that. Yeah. But as far as my artwork has been shown everywhere. I was able to do the Super Bowl one year of I think it was 2017 when it came to Houston. Yeah, I did the helmets.
What?
So I did the helmets. Actually, somebody on Facebook ended up contacting me and they was like, "Bro, I seen your artwork. I would love for you to be part of this Super Bowl thing they're doing for the helmets." And I was like, "Man, get out of here! Like Super Bowl."
Hey.
People end up contacting me, and I ended up doing the helmets. Actually, I did so many of them. The dude was like, "Hey, bro, can you do some more of them?" I'm like, if y'all paying, I do some more of them. So they ended up cutting the check, and I ended up doing them. So the Super Bowl, I did some stuff for Direct Energy. Of course, like I said, the NDO Beer Company. Yeah, some artwork. It's been different places.
Is it hard to negotiate, or is there negotiations going on, like as far as like pricing and all that stuff like that?
Pricing? They asked me what I wanted, and they gave me. Actually, one person gave me more than I wanted. I was like, man, that's a blessing.
Yeah, I love that.
But it's always cool, to actually collaborate with other companies and just even artists, even different artists. I love collaborating with other artists too.
That's dope. Yeah, well, I can't wait to see what you come up with next to collaborate, who you collaborate with next and stuff. It's gonna be exciting.
But yeah, thank you, Zanelle. Thanks again, man, for having my piece, man. It's one of your puzzles, man. This is amazing collaboration, man. I dig it.
Well, thank you so much. It's been amazing getting to catch up with you and hear all about a story behind Black Plum. Why don't you tell all of our listeners where we can follow you, where we can see the rest of your King series?
Oh, it's the King series and stuff. Yeah. This is what I got going on. You can follow me at Craig C the Artist at Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you see all my stuff on TikTok. It's Craig C the Artist. All that same thing.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Thank you for joining us for an episode of Vibing With. Be sure to purchase a puzzle by this talented artist at puzzlesofcolor.com. You can also listen to a curated playlist of music to pair with this artist's puzzle on Spotify. Just search for Puzzles of Color.